If you've been wanting to add more interactivity into your PowerPoint presentations, or maybe you've wanted to create your own PowerPoint games, then you are in the right place. Hey, it's Jeff with YourLearningCareer.com. One of my favorite ways to add interactivity into a PowerPoint presentation, or when I'm creating a game or a game template, is with animation triggers. What is an animation trigger? Let me show you an example here. I'm actually this is a Family Feud style game, which if you're interested in, I have this and many, many other games over in my Your Learning Career store on Shopify. I'll put a link to that in the description below. But anyway, let me just show you. So on a Family Feud board, you want to be able to select a specific answer to show. Like I don't want all these to show. Let's say number 3. If I just want to show number 3, notice when I hover over it, my cursor turns into a hand. And when I click on it, it reveals. That is a trigger. That is an animation trigger. Same thing with the strikes. So if I go down here and I'm hovering and then I click, it shows the X. That's a trigger. So I trigger this action to happen when I click. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you just some basics about triggers. Basically, I'm going to show you how you can create your own, how you create them. I've got 3 examples I'm going to show you of ways you can use them. You could use them either in just a straight presentation, or if you're wanting to create your own game, you can use them in that capacity as well. But the cool thing with triggers is they're very, they're pretty easy to create. And then once you start understanding how they work, you can start to layer them and have all kinds of cool things happen. I'm going to keep it basic in this one today. If you're interested though, if you want to know how to build a game like this I'm pointing, it looks like I'm pointing at you. I'm pointing at my screen. Okay. If you're interested in creating your own Family Feud game from scratch, I do have a video showing that, and that includes, how I set up all these triggers that I just showed you. So you can look at that here. I will link to that. And then also, if you're looking to go beyond the basics, if you want a more extensive overview of triggers, and you also want some access to a whole bunch of games and templates, then you'll want to check out my Make It Fun Society membership, and I will link to that in the description as well. All right, so let's get into it with triggers. So I'm going to start here with click to make an object appear. So, and I'm keeping, I'm keeping this very, very simple, just because that way, I don't want it to get too complicated. I just want to show you the very basics, and then you can expand from here. But anyway, all right. So on this first slide, what I want to do is I want this bird picture to appear when I click on the button, show the bird. So the way we're going to do that is I first need to animate this picture. I need to add animation. So to do that, I'm going to go to the Animations tab. I'm going to click on Add Animation, and I'm going to give it a fade animation. Now, you can do whichever one you want. That's just what I'm choosing to do for this. Now, the next thing I'm going to want to do is click on this trigger, and it says on click of, and I'm going to say rectangle 3, because that is what this is. This is rectangle 3. And by the way, if you're not sure what's what, over here under home and arrange, there is a selection pane. This is where you can see what all your things are called. And you can also rename them. And by the way, I do recommend, especially when you've got lots of objects on your slide, like this is very simple. So I'm not too worried about not knowing which rectangle is which, because I only have one. But if I had a whole bunch of rectangles and a whole bunch of, like in a feud game, right? I have all these different objects. It gets really confusing when you're looking at picture 5, picture 4, picture 3. So it's a good idea to go in here and rename your objects using the selection pane. All right, so let me see. Now let me show you too what this looks like on the animation. Okay, I'm in the animations tab. I'm gonna go to the animation pane, and now you can see trigger, rectangle 3, and I'm gonna show the bird. So that's how it'll look on your animation pane. And when I go into slideshow, I'm gonna say from current slide. So see, there's nothing on the slide. And when I click here, show the bird, there it is. There's my picture. So that's a really simple click and reveal trigger. All right, for this next one, it's basically the same. It's just a different context. And this is something you might do in a presentation. You might want to reveal an answer to a question. So if you have a question up there and you have you can have your answer hidden, it'll basically be the same thing to set up this trigger. So I'm going to click on the object that I want to reveal. I'll go to animations. I'm going to add the animation. I'll make it a fade. And then I will go to trigger on click of, and in this case, it is rectangle 3. And there it is. So when I go to slideshow from current slide and I click show answer, there it is. So, again, that's very basic. But hopefully you can see how easy it is to create a trigger. And as you layer things in, you can make multiple things happen. Or you could, you could do this in a different way. You could put, maybe instead of show answer, maybe you have your answers up here. And then they become the trigger. When you click on one of the answers, a certain message comes up. There's all kinds of things you can do. Now, one more thing I wanted to show, and this is a very similar way that we're going to do this, and that's to play a sound. You might want to have a sound like this. This is a buzzer sound. And right now the way I've got it set up is this sound. I inserted the sound using insert here and then audio, and I had the audio file. And then I moved it off of the slide, so I don't want that to show, but I do want it to make the sound. And then what I'll do here is I'm going to click the sound. I'm going to go to animation. I'm going to hit play because I want it to play, but I want it to happen on click of rectangle. So there's that. And then I will go to slideshow just to show you real quick. So here it is, play sound, boom. All right. So those are some very basic triggers that you can easily create. And then once you're comfortable creating these basic animations, these basic triggers, then you can start to expand. You can start layering. So maybe instead of just a sound, maybe this button actually, because you can add multiple things under these layers so that it not only, like here, it's not only, so you see how these triggers have multiple things. So it's showing something else is not showing. You can have the sound combined. So that's what you're eventually aiming for, is getting to where you've got multiple things happening under one trigger. But when you're just learning how, I would just, maybe keep it simple initially. And then as you get more and more comfortable, you can add more to it. Once again, if you want to learn even more about triggers and also have some practice files included, then you will want to check out the Make It Fun Society. It's my membership where you get access to all kinds of games, templates, as well as a community of people who are trying to make it fun. So again, I will link to it in the description below, along with my Your Learning Career store. Thanks as always for watching, and we will see you next time.